All right. Good morning, Miami Dolphin fans and draft fans. Welcome to another episode of On the Clock, Miami Dolphins Weekly Draft Show here on FTSN. I'm Bobby Finstock, joined always by Josh Wingate and Coach Vogel. Coach, good morning, sir. How are you?
Great. Winding this basketball season down, and then I can jump head first into draft film like crazy. So we got about 2 more weeks. So
there you go.
Got good information off the Senior Bowl. So hopefully we got some good information for you guys today.
There you go. Josh, man, we missed you last week, brother. How you doing?
I know it. I can't tell you the panic I had when you messaged me. You're like, "Hey, we're ready to go," and I'm like, "I'm sitting in a Cinnabon right now because we just took a walk with my daughter." Yeah, it was good though. We started a little tradition of we go down to a park and we take a mile walk and come back, and then she plays in the playground. So we did that a little earlier this week. So we did it on Saturday. We had the show on Sunday, but yeah, no, I'm feeling good. I've been getting into some of these offensive linemen, so I'm excited about that.
Dude, I talked about that last week. During the show how this week I slacked. I had a basketball game yesterday. Friday, I was in Nashville all day for my daughter's concert. It was just a crazy week in general. So I did not really get into much at all, really, film. But when I was getting in there and I was peeking and figuring out, okay, what I got left, I saw it. I'm scrolling down, looking at everything, and all of a sudden I just see one score on the side, and it's on Josh Wingate's Tate Rutledge. And I'm like, whoa! I was like, okay, interesting. Offensive line, which Dolphins need. And there's Daniel talking to a certain offensive lineman who had a great week of Senior Bowl practice and just in general. So, but you saw Tate Rutledge, and obviously we're going to talk about that. That's going to be our spotlight today, and Josh will lead that. But let's just talk about the Senior Bowl. What a week! First off, the goal is just to let everybody know the plans is for the next Senior Bowl that we will be there, whether a group of us, one of us will be there. I know I already said, I said, I did get credentials. Obviously car thing, life in general, just can't do it. But with basketball season and all that and the thing, we won yesterday. My son, it was awesome. We came back and won the game. It was epic. They laughed at me. I heard the parents in the crowd laughing because I fell to my knee. I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm I'm hyped.
You're all in.
Yeah, dude, whatever. You want a boring coach, but it was a fun game. So, but next year we're definitely going to go, but we were paying attention hardcore this season, this go around. We usually do, but obviously for Dolphin fans, we're all zoned in. Miami Dolphin fans are zoned in on what's going to happen. We know offensive line is going to be a priority this offseason, whether through the draft or free agency. Are they going to be focused on that? We're going to watch offensive linemen, Tate Rutledge, Zabel, he had a killer day. There was the, oh my goodness, is it Connerly, offensive lineman who was doing well. And then he got bum rushed by Mike Green and everybody's, see, here we go. Eichenberg 2.0. Dolphins are going to drop it. It's like, dude, don't hate the guy on one play. It happens. You got to look at the whole body of work, and then even the quarterbacks. Come met with a few of them, and which was interesting. We know Jackson Dart had himself a very good week. Fans are starting to come around on that just in general in the NFL. They're talking about maybe late first round pick, but we'll see. We know this is a long, long process. The Senior Bowl, draft prep, film, the scouting combine, individual pro days, team visits. Players are going to jump up and down and all around. Before we get into Dolphin visits, because the Dolphins did meet up with some people, quarterbacks, receivers. They shown interest in a running back. They met with a certain tight end, offensive lineman. Before we get into any of that, Coach, we'll start with you. And then Josh, following up, just any, what did you see or read up or looked into the Senior Bowl? What stood out to you, man? What players stood out? What have you been seeing, and something that catches your eye in general?
Obviously, the one that the interior offensive line that caught my eye is the kid from North Carolina State, Zabel. Um, you know, I have a thing for small school guys because I feel like those guys that actually make it to the Senior Bowl are kids that have a heart and soul and will, they're not there because of talent alone. Where some of these guys that go to the Alabamas and the Miamis that are just off talent alone, when push comes to shove, you want a guy that knows what it's like to grind. So he stood out. The offensive tackle from North Carolina State, Anthony Belton, kind of seemed to pop also. As far as the two linemen that stood out, and I think massive props goes out to the wide receiver Jack Betch from TCU. Ended up being the MVP of the Senior Bowl. His brother's the one that passed away in the thing. A month to the day. A month to the day, his brother passed away and won the MVP. So that was pretty cool to see there too.
No, I'm glad you brought up Jack Beck. I was looking into him. He had a very good season last year. First off, our condolences to him. But 62
Absolutely.
receptions, 1,000 yards, 1,034 yards, 9 touchdowns, 6'2", 215. I mean, he has the size. He did himself a lot of favors in this Senior Bowl, and I mean, especially what you just brought up too, with this type of tragedy. It would be every excuse in a book not to have your best showing and people going based off film alone, but to come in, bust your ass, come out as the MVP, have a strong week. Teams are going to look at that and go, this is the guy that you want on your football team. That's going to lead by example. That's going to be hardest working person in the room. I'm so glad you brought him up. He was on my list. So shout out to Jack Beck. And I mean, hey,
doesn't he feel like a Los Angeles Rams pick?
Yes, he does.
He just screams Los Angeles Rams at this point.
Yeah,
I do like the big body, the 6'6", like that. Yeah,
the dude's huge. I mean, 215, 60. But that's what I was going to say. For that right there, you go, okay. I mean, we know we've been talking Miami, possible, bigger bodied receiver. There's your guy. But as you brought up, screams the Los Angeles Rams, and the report is, or the rumor, that Cooper Kupp could be on the way out. So it makes a lot of sense that if Kupp goes out, this guy comes in. Josh, same question, man. What caught your eye this week, and just kind of looking over the Senior Bowl and anything else?
Yeah, so not last show because I wasn't on last show, but the show before, I told everyone I'm trying to block out that noise. So I'm still blocking out that noise by not looking at the Senior Bowl film just yet. Because I want to form an opinion on these players before I get into that film. So I did that, but you can't block everything out. The thing that shocked me was Jackson Dart, as everyone's saying he's the top quarterback in this year's draft. I didn't see that coming anywhere. So that's what took my eye. Everyone's saying he's the number one quarterback. He's a first round pick.
Yeah.
So I'm shocked at that. Supposedly he did really well. But yeah, that's what stole my eye when it came to the Senior Bowl. I'm excited to get onto this film because, like I said, I think you were doing the show with Kimmel yesterday, and you guys started talking about the Senior Bowl, and I'm filming it. I have it filmed. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to see everything. Yeah. But I want to form my opinion on these players first because I'm 3 deep. Yep. I have Tate Rutledge, Tyler Booker, Dylan Fairchild done at the moment. Once I get that, I'm going to start watching these offensive linemen go and start forming my opinion on there. Because we have a list of 10 players that we're going to get through initially. Yep. I'm going to then see what 10 players aren't on that list. If they are on that list, I'm going to see how they did. Is it something different than what I saw in that film? I'm going to then go back to the film, rewatch that. If there's a player that stood out, I'm going to watch that because we do have Gray Zabel on our top 10 list to watch it in this. So I don't want to form my opinion because he did so well at the Senior Bowl in a isolated situation, form my opinion on him there, and then go back into the film and then say,
because it's a 1 week snippet.
Yeah.
Or
that's right.
A 1 week snippet. Yeah.
It's so true, and that's why again, it's there's so much more to this. You know, if you're following social media, I mean, everybody either you're going now in the top 5, top 10 in the first round, or you're going in the you're a bust. You're terrible. You're gonna be a 7th round. You should be undrafted. You can't do that. You have first off, you have a whole body of work on film to watch. Yes, you should count the Senior Bowl as a part of that.
Yeah.
Then you got the scouting combine, you have pro days, you know, there's so much more to this. And Scotty says he could see 4 quarterbacks going in the first round.
Possibly could.
Again, the draft is so unpredictable. You know, Jackson Dart did himself a big favor. I was surprised too in regards of just people saying, "Oh my God, I could see him jumping up." Now, if a team is desperate enough, absolutely, especially if he continues to have a strong draft process offseason here. You know, he goes in the scouting combine and kills it, goes into the interviews and kills it, goes into the pro day, into the individual pro day and kills it. It could happen, you know. I find hard pressed. I mean, that's best case scenario for Miami. If the quarterbacks go in, four quarterbacks go in the first round, that's great for Miami because that pushes a lot of good talent back because there's way better talent right now outside of quarterback than there is quarterback. You know, that's why for me, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, that's where Miami should go if they're going to go after a quarterback. And they've met with a couple. You know, they did meet with a couple quarterbacks, at least that I know of. You know, and that's Milroe out of Alabama and Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon. I will say that some of the standouts there, just from that's been a hit list here. Just want to throw it out. We talked about Jackson Dart, Georgia, Trevor Etienne. Oregon, Tez Johnson. Tez Johnson looked really good this week or got a lot of praise. How about Miami Hurricanes tight end Elijah Arroyo? He had a very good Senior Bowl. People were saying, "Oh, this could be the number 1 tight end in the draft class." Now, I will say this: I'm not ready to go there because, I mean, again, I told you last week, Coach Fannin Jr. is this dude jumped out on me, you know. But I will say that this tight end class has the potential to be one of the best tight end classes to come out in a while. I mean, this is a strong class at tight end. Ooh. This is a strong class of tight end.
I didn't like that move by Josh. What was that about, Josh?
Come on, Josh.
I thought last year was pretty good. I thought the year before that was. It's saying a lot if you're saying like this group of tight ends that have been coming out year after year has just been so good. It's just a big thing to say.
I didn't say it was for.
Or is it just a deeper class?
Oh, I know. It's but that's a big statement. Like,
well, but
we've had a lot of tight ends come in lately.
Everybody's talking about the kid from Penn State, which they should, right? Yeah. Tyler Warren, absolutely. Yeah. But, you know, Harold Fannin Jr., small school tight end. That dude, I saw somebody call him Antonio Gates, a small Antonio Gates. I'm not going to put that on him. I don't like that. I don't feel good, doing that to players. But he is so freaking good. And Arroyo from Miami. So another one. There are so many good tight ends. And Coach just brought up, maybe a better word would have said, this is one of the deepest classes for a tight end, where you could get yourself a really good tight end or later on in the draft.
I love watching tight ends on film, so I'm here for it.
Oh, dude, you got to tell me if I'm crazy, because when I can't wait to watch more of Fannin Jr. Because when I put him on, I was like, I'm going to say it like this, and you'll get this, you guys. I got Braden Fisk vibes. That's what I got.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Every play, again, I'm going to watch more because I remember we're really early. But every time the ball snapped, he was moving. I mean, even when the ball was all the way over here, he was running around over there. Yeah. Like, some players you'll see they start walking. Yeah. He wasn't that. So
taking plays off.
I'm just saying, you guys come at me when you see it and you go, "Oh, Bobby, man, I don't know." I'm going to watch more, but I'm telling you, I love this kid.
I always say like tight end is that one position like every kid should play. Like if you're in the position to play tight end in like school, you should, because you learn how to block, you learn how to run routes, learn like that's the most versatile position in the game of football. So I think it's such a fun position to watch.
No, 100%. The offensive tackle, another Oregon guy, Josh Connerly. Again, he did himself favors. One thing but what killed it, and this is why social media is so dangerous when you're doing this or watching this, is that one viral play which was Mike Green. But, Mike Green came out had a strong week for edge rusher. He had himself probably the best week for edge rushers. He made him look ridiculous, fall on his ass, and everybody said, "Oh, the dude's a joke. He's gonna be a bust." It happens. Even the best get knocked out. I'm not saying he's going to be one of the best, but it happens. We can't do it on that.
Yeah.
But Connerly, and then Gray Zabel from North Dakota State.
Yeah.
Mike Green, Cameron Jackson, defensive lineman, Shamir James, Florida linebacker, corner Quincy Wiley, and safety Oklahoma Billy Bowman Jr. all had strong weeks. Those were Senior Bowl standouts. Some of them.
Kaiser had a great week at linebacker too from Notre Dame.
Yep. Let me see if I
is that Deshaun's brother?
Yeah, no. I don't think they're related. I don't think they're related.
Notre Dame, Kaiser, you have to ask.
Yeah, there you go.
So we will. Green did himself really well. Russ Morgan in the house, host of the On Deck Baseball podcast and co-host for the TD and Paradise podcast, and co-host for the Checkdown show on FTSN that covers the NFL. Our resident Jets and Celtics fan, help us. Coach, you believe that we got a Jets fan on the network, my man? Hey, nobody's perfect.
If we can expand and get somebody from every team, we're going to be sitting pretty come draft.
See, that's why I love Coach, man. He's with me. I'm like that. I'm like, me and Russ will go at it after the show, before the show, talking so much about the Jets and Dolphins, but I'm with you. I want to get, Josh Wingate, Cowboys fan. Congratulations on Brian Schottenheimer, by the way. I know.
There you go.
But I agree, man.
Not what you wanted, huh?
Representation off everybody.
I will say this: the interview made me feel a little bit better, because the first thing he talked about was culture, and that's the thing I've been preaching this entire time: is Dallas needs to have a culture change. Hopefully, he's that dude. I will never tell someone he failed at his job before he started. So hopefully he does a good job.
I love that response. And I will say, that's what I was saying, because a lot of people were hating on Brian Schottenheimer. And, I have a friend at work who's a Cowboys fan, and he was, he's not happy about it. But I will say, I'm with you. First off, Jerry Jones still runs that football team. He wants to have somebody who's going to work with him, who's going to, walk hand in hand with him and agree with his vision. And Schottenheimer, remember who his dad is. And Schottenheimer's been doing this for a while. Just let it play out. Yeah. Is it, should you be, if you're a Cowboys fan, should be like, oh, yes, it's going to be awesome. No, but at the same time, you don't know. This might be a culture change and a cultural shock and whatever. But, yeah, Russ is a Jets fan. I think Schottenheimer was a Jets coach. And so he's just saying the offense sucks.
Yeah, he was our offensive coordinator last couple of years as well. I just... It spoke volumes with Dak Prescott showing up to his press conference, multiple other players showing up in support of him. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So Scotty is asking, because it's reported that Darrell Bevell, the quarterback's coach for the Dolphins, could be on his way out and going to the Las Vegas Raiders to be OC for Pete Carroll. Again, I think Bevell should be our OC in regards of not getting rid of Mike Smith, and pushing up Bevell and Mike McDaniel giving up play calling. That's what McDaniel needs to do, and that's not going to happen. Bevell is going to end up going to Vegas, it looks like, and so he's saying who replaces Bevell. He would like to bring in Doug Peterson. I mean,
as a quarterback's coach.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd come in as a quarterback's coach, being a head coach, an OC, and a championship coach. Of course, one can dream. I don't know. I don't know who we could bring in, because again, you look at special teams. They finally fired Denny Crossman, and they hired the Titans special teams coach, and so they got a lot of guys that you'd be like, whoa, I didn't expect him. So I mean, I think it'll be somebody who we don't expect, and we'll see. But pass game coordinator, doesn't matter his title. There you go. Scotty.
Yeah.
I love Doug Peterson. I would be happy with Doug Peterson on staff with a Mike McDaniel. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Talking about the Dolphins, let's discuss who they met with reportedly. And you guys tell me what names jump out to you. and we'll discuss. We could go discuss certain players, but let's do it. So first off, they met up with wide receiver from Miami, Xavier Restrepo. Tight end Mason Taylor from LSU, who we all know. His dad was, Hall of Famer, greatest Dolphin, my favorite Dolphin. Jason Taylor. Damian Martinez, the running back out of Miami. Jalen Rivers, offensive lineman. They met with other offensive linemen too, I believe. I think they met with Zabel. And then quarterbacks, Milroe and Dylan Gabriel. So let me ask you, Josh, I'll start with you, and Coach will follow up. What name is a head scratcher? What name pops your eyebrows?
I mean, I don't necessarily have a head scratcher because again, I haven't gone through all these players, but I
Fair.
think the one thing I have is Dylan Gabriel. He played in the postseason and he was just exposed. I think everyone walked away from that game watching him and said, "Is this guy ready for the NFL?" Who's the guy that's in the quarterback for the Texans right now? I can't think of
CJ
his name.
Stroud.
CJ Stroud. He went into the playoffs against Georgia a few years back and he cemented his name as one of the top quarterbacks going into the NFL draft. I think Dylan Gabriel did the complete opposite. And currently in Miami's situation, they have a player that kind of plays like Dylan Gabriel. I don't, he doesn't show up for that big game. I mean, literally, he doesn't show up for the big game because he's always hurt. But I think that Dylan Gabriel was just the head scratcher for me just because of who he is, what he's done. He plays well during the regular season and then has a complete dud in the postseason. So
I'll say this, and Coach, let me just say, first off, Dylan Gabriel, you're right. First off, though the season, he had a very good season. He's accurate. I mean, but again, if you're talking about you don't want to say spitting image because he's he's not Tua, but again, like 5'10", 5'11", smaller, but he's accurate as hell. Had a strong season. Tej Johnson had a good year with him. But I agree. First off, size is going to kill you. That will knock you down the boards. And like you said, Josh, what he did in the bowl game, that's going to knock him down a peg or two. When I watched him, I saw someone in control of their offense and commanded their offense. I saw someone comfortable, and I could see it. Again, in regards of Miami, there's obviously other guys I would take, over him, but I could see why Miami would say, we had success with one guy at this kind of stature. Maybe we go for his clone, even though I don't want to say it's his clone. He might have a strong arm, but we'll see. Yeah. But Coach, any of those names jump out to you, or do you have the same thoughts about Gabriel?
Look, we've got the undersized quarterback, and it's not going very well. I would like to have a bigger bodied quarterback like Jackson Dart or Milroe, or even Riley Leonard from Notre Dame, are guys that can now. Riley Leonard made some plays later in the second half against Ohio State, but it's kind of that, he had some decent throws, to kind of get Notre Dame into position. But I don't want another small quarterback. We've gone that route. We're seeing the effects that Josh Allen has in his offense and being a big bodied, quarterback where he can. We don't have to,
play
the
every time.
bring in somebody else to run a quarterback sneak from a few years ago. I watched a little bit of film on the Taylor kid from LSU, the tight end.
Mason Taylor.
And Mason. Yeah, he popped for me. Now granted, the film that I watched briefly was just a highlight film, which I try not to watch highlight films in general. I think it's kind of all the three of us kind of have that same motto, to not watch highlight film. But he, as a big bodied tight end, like he could. I got to do more film work, but he could be one of those that could be sneaky good, on day 2 or day 3, if nobody's getting him, depending on how many tight ends. But and obviously the linemen, we need linemen, so I'm never going to complain about linemen we bring in.
I see you, Label. I see you, brother.
Looking at
Bring it.
this man, Mason Taylor, I would have never thought that was Jason Taylor's son. Doesn't look anything like his dad.
Yeah, it looks more like I think his mother and his uncle, which is Zach
Yeah.
Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks more like his uncle, and his
Yeah.
and his
A lot
mom.
taller version of his uncle.
Yeah, that's right. See,
Yes.
that's where he gets it from his
Yes, a
dad.
lot
That's what he
taller.
got from his
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah.
But I will say, first off, in general, like I get your guys is points on Dylan Gabriel. I know that's going to be knocks on him in regards to into the Dolphins community, Dolphins fan community, fans and just people in general are going to look at the size and that's going to knock him down a peg or two. Milroe, when I saw that Miami met with Milroe, I was happy with that. You guys know that when I liked what I saw when I first started some game on film.
Excited.
Yeah, again, people, you just want, Brett. I saw Brett respond to somebody and was like, whoever wants Milroe is because they just want somebody with speed and somebody to be no, because I don't think Brett realized that was my tweet that I was like, oh, I would not hate this as a backup option for Miami.
Yeah.
So to develop, and again, it's what you see. Obviously, I can understand if first off, Alabama's team, they should not have been in the playoffs last year. They weren't very good, but when you watch, at least for me, when I watched him, I saw someone, again, he's raw. You got to develop there. But yeah, if you want to bring up the speed, he's athletic, he's fast, he's big, he has a strong arm. There's a lot there that in the right situation, which is key, whether it's Miami or wherever, in the right situation, this guy could be a very damn good quarterback.
So here's my question, Bobby.
Yeah.
You said he was raw. Is he as raw as Richardson from the Colts?
No, and I know a lot of people are saying that too.
Right. I see, because I've watched enough Alabama games to see him make some really good throws that you're like, oh wow, that right. Yeah. And the difference is he's had he started 2 or 3 years, where Richardson only started the one season and got drafted. So that's where, and you're not bringing him in to start, you're bringing him in to back up Tua for the top for now, and then hopefully he can,
that's the difference, right? You're not getting him to be, or not even that, right? When I say this, this is the difference with Richardson, right? Again, you're not drafting him to be your franchise guy. He's not going he wouldn't be going in the first round at this point. If it was Miami, I know a lot of people say, like Scotty says, he could see him going in the first round, just because quarterbacks get pushed up. If he has a strong offseason and all that, sure, you could see him jump up because of that raw talent. But I saw somebody go, Anthony Richardson 2.0 or whatever. Richardson was drafted a little high, obviously very high. First round pick, top 10, whatever. That would be Milroe. If you got him in the second or third round, you got him right where he needs to be. You could afford him to be a little raw, and that you have time because he sits behind your starter. You let him develop. Now, if and when Tua goes down, that's when you say, okay, let's throw him out there and let's see what we got in this kid. Because we got him in the second or third round. Now, you know what? If he ends up balling out, even though he has rookie mistakes, then we know, okay, we could work with this in the future. We have a guy we're going to be excited about. Or if he craps the bed, then we know, okay, we didn't waste a first round pick. We got a second, third round pick. We got our backup. Let's go and make sure we push up to go get our quarterback next year if that is the case. That's what to me, I don't hate it because, again, I see a kid who's talented, who could extend a play with his legs, with his arm. I mean, imagine the speed on that offense in general. I see a lot of potential in Milroe, especially in a Miami Dolphins offense. There's a lot of other Curtis Work. Of course, they talk about Jackson Dart, the Texas Quinn Ewers. I always butcher his name.
Ewers
from Texas. There's a lot. This is not the end all, but to meet with him, that's what got me sense. I was like, when I watched film on him, just all his, his plays in 2 games, I was like, I like what I really see from this kid. So when I saw they met with him, I was like, I like that.
Good.
Yeah, and you're not at the aspect right now that you're trying to overthrow Tua completely. You're not trying to throw all your pieces into the Tua basket of he's done. You're trying to find a player that you can draft fairly early. It might be third, fourth round, ideally, that you're drafting this guy to then build on and take over for him. Because right now you're paying Tua a lot of money. You want Tua to succeed, but
Yeah.
if you can have someone that kind of pushes Tua, because I've said this before, Tua's not really had anyone to push him ever since Ryan
No.
Fitzpatrick left.
Yeah.
He hasn't had anyone that has pushed him to say, "Hey, I have a potential to be the starter." You kind of want that, knowing that you drafted
Yes.
someone within the first
In every
4 rounds.
position.
Yeah,
In every
and
position, you want that.
Tua's never
100%.
felt uncomfortable,
No, he
except for
has
when
in a
No.
Ryan
long time.
Fitzpatrick was there.
Yeah.
Well, and the report last year that came in during the season, which I mean, I didn't have to see the report to know that's how it went down, was before they signed him to that contract extension. That's why they didn't really go get a legitimate backup or anybody really to because they didn't want to feel like, oh, they're trying to replace him or pressure
Right.
him. That was the report that Miami feared that could be a case, which is stupid to me. I don't know if
Yeah.
Tua told him, hey, don't do it. I'm not going to put that on him, but I think it's weak. I think it's weak as hell from Miami if that was
Yeah.
really the case, that you put yourself in that situation where if and when you're court, which he will, it's just you have to say, even if he doesn't, you got to go, okay, more than likely he's going to go down.
Right.
You went into the last season with that quarterback room.
Yeah.
That was malpractice at the highest order. So this offseason, I don't give a damn how Tua feels about that situation. If they got to go, if they go get a veteran backup, we know. I mean, I'm just throwing. I know a lot of people want to throw these names out there. These guys are going to be looking for starting jobs. But if you were to go and he doesn't get a starting job, and you call Russell Wilson and Russell Wilson's your,
Russell. That was the name I threw out a while back. Russell.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like again, you can call it okay. You do that and let Tua feel a little uncomfortable that he has a Super Bowl winning champion quarterback who we know is not what he was, but he could push Tua, and maybe that brings out the best version of Tua, or or Kirk Cousins or whomever, a veteran guy. But again, I still think even if this year, it doesn't have to be the heir apparent. I think drafting a quarterback, and we've all said this, and I think we all agree, drafting a QB every year is a smart thing to do. Whether it's in the first, second, third, fourth, seventh round, whatever, you do it until you hit, because there's always that hidden gem. There's someone in there that one day you might hit. And you go, holy crap, we just hit the lottery. So
I don't know the mindset of the NFL where they are, like everyone's saying in the chat, protecting these quarterbacks. If there's someone that wants to come in that was a 7th round pick and can beat out my 1st round pick, I'm excited for that. I think if they could do that, I'm stoked.
He was there. I think he saw everything. That's why he
can't.
left. I was about to say that was a deep.
He can't hear he can't hear anyone, so he's going to come back.
Okay. I need a tight end that could block. I wanted Russell last off season. Tudor needs a backup quarter to paint his name. Okay. But no. I felt when I look and I see who Miami met with, especially this early in the process, I feel Miami was serious when they went in that press conference and said, that they're going to look hard at this situation and that they need Tua to be healthy. They kind of put Tua on notice in regards of you have to be available. And to see that right away, they're meeting with guys that are bigger names, obviously not the biggest names, but that they're meeting with these guys. That shows that Miami is serious about looking for a backup QB or a young guy that they could develop and potentially be that or more. Another name that stood out to me was Damian Martinez. That got me excited because people will go, man, we have Devon Achen and Jalen Wright. We're going to lose Raheem and what? Why do we need another running back? Why do we need running backs? Are you kidding?
Next man up.
Up. And again, I think I said this all last offseason, just like I said, we need a backup quarterback more than we had to worry about the extension. But I said this all last offseason. I'll say it again. We need a thumper. We need a big body back who could do it all. I mean, and Martinez is one of those guys. There's more guys in there. Again, Ollie Gordon is one. There's a lot of dudes. But again, this got me excited because this tells me Miami might be on the same mind track on the same track. McDaniel and Greer saying we need that thumper. We need a guy that could get you that first down on a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, or whatever. We need a guy who could be a red zone threat because Devon Achen, and I love Achen. He's one of our elite playmakers on this football team. He's a Swiss Army knife. You could draft a running back early on. That's why I don't hate the idea even of a Genti. I'm not saying that's what they should do, but I don't hate it.
Right.
Why don't I hate it? Because if you have Genti at running back, you could put Devon Achane as your slot. You put him, line him up at receiver. You could put him as, you have a 2-back system. You could do all that. You could do anything with that. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But I love the idea that Martinez is a I don't have his measurables in front of me, but big body running back. He is power back, but he can do it all. He has that breakaway speed. He's interesting. Again, I just love that. Coach, what do you think if Miami was to target a running back, and even if not in the first round, but what it was a third, fourth round, if they get a pick like they did with White and Achane?
Yeah, another potential name is Scattaboo. That dude's a thumper too, man. He get downhill quick. No, I mean, right? We need that short yardage instead of having to do all the screens and this and that to pick up a first down. Can we just turn around, hand it off, and have a big bodied running back to get it in there? I'm good with the speed guys. Now we need somebody that we can just, on 3rd and short or 4th and short, just turn it over to and be a Derrick Henry type running back that is just going to try and power forward. So I don't have any issues with getting a bigger bodied or running back that you can put Achane in those different special spots.
What's the thought on Donovan Edwards? I think he's 5'11", like around 220. I liked him when I watched him last year.
Donovan Edwards, I have Donovan Edwards. What did I have on him?
You had a 3rd round grade for him. Oh no, sorry, that's Donovan Smith.
Yeah, did I see Edwards?
You didn't watch him yet.
No, I don't. I have his name. I have his name there. But I don't have a score on him. So
I watched him. I watched him last year. I forget I didn't like the running back that came out, but I remember specifically thinking Donovan Edwards when I watched him play in replacement of what's that running back's name that came out last year from Michigan? Can't think of his name.
I can't.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Didn't he go to he went to the Chargers?
Yeah.
Right.
His name starts with like a B or something. But I remember watching Edwards come in and just, this is my guy. Like, I like him. I like what he's about. Michigan plays like that zone blocking scheme.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like him as an option. I don't think he's going to be this big name guy coming out either. Again, haven't watched his film yet, but from what I saw last year, I'm a fan of his.
Well, 6'1", 212, right? I mean, that's who we're looking at here.
Might be, or I thought I saw he's like around, about 6'2", somewhere around there.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch him. But let me see. Sports Illustrated wrote something up on him very quick. Michigan running back turning heads and breaking ankles at the Senior Bowl. That's always good to read.
Yeah, he looked good, and I think you're not looking for that power back in tradition of like that power scheme. Someone that doesn't have that ability to move around. He doesn't have speed to him. Like we said, Derrick Henry is like everyone would love to have a Derrick Henry. Like if you could print a running back into the NFL, that would be Derrick Henry. But it's not like that. So Donovan Edwards, I think, would be a nice piece in that backfield because he does have some speed. He has some agility, but he also has some power to him as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. Again, if I'm a guy with build up that running back room. I'm not against it. Again, I would love that power back there, and there's so many really good backs that you could get at any part of the draft. I'm gonna watch Edwards. I'm gonna watch him today, and I'll put a score up on him. I do have his name on my list. I just didn't put a score next to him. I think I had to replace him with somebody because why would I? I thought I finished. I go with everybody who's on the list, even though I have it on the screen. Pick number 13. I will say I see some comments in there about pick number 13. It is lucky pick 13. We did discuss. I think it was. I don't know if it was together or
last week.
Was it last week that we discussed
the
picks at 13, and all of them are. There were some really good players at that position that we discussed. And again, Scotty's on the money though in the comments. 13, and we saw that even in the simulators, even though simulators are just, it goes off other people's boards and all that, but Miami is such in a prime spot where if Shedeur and Cam Ward do go in the top 5-10 picks, that's going to push some very good players at pick 13, where Miami's going to have a good selection. And Miami might even say, hey, look, if we trade down 10 spots, we still get a really good player, or 5 spots. Teams are going to be calling at that 13 pick. Now, again, do you risk it all and say, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and get all those draft picks and then, or get a couple draft picks and then not get the player who you really would like? That would be a problem. Oh, Blake Corum. That's right. From Michigan. There you go. Yes.
Yeah.
He went to LA. He went to the Rams.
Yeah.
But
no, the Chargers. He went to the Chargers with Harbaugh.
I'm pretty sure he went to the Rams.
He went to the Rams. He went to the Rams.
All right, I lied.
No, you didn't lie.
He just played in the same building. He plays in the same building.
It was LA, but it was just the wrong LA team. I mean,
That's right. The wrong end zone.
That's right. Yeah, you see, Zabel, there you go. He did work with my Miami Dolphins, and that's something that's huge. He worked with the Miami Dolphins back. Miami needs all the picks, in my opinion. That's fair. And you know what, though, DSG? That's why, again, pick 13, it's going to be perfect for Miami in regards of either you get a very good player, which Miami has before at 13. Coach, what was it? It was Christian Wilkins and oh my goodness, Laramie Tunsil. Pick 13 for the Dolphins. Let me look that up very quick again. I know we talked about it last week, but now that we're saying it, there we go.
I know last year we I feel like before the
Brock
pick
Bowers,
even happened.
Brock Bowers was pick 13.
There you go. And before that pick even came up for Chop, we were kind of on top of it because we were looking at next year's free agents, and we're like, well, this is an opportunity for them to get someone to play now, but also take over that spot so you can get rid of like a Bradley Chubb or something like that. So
and that's why I will say, and we're going to go over this one. We'll go over this now that we have Josh with us, but I want to say too, because I saw this earlier today, and I brought him up last week as well. But one of the mock drafts from one of the main sites, and had Miami taking wide receiver at pick 13, and they took Luther Burden from Missouri. And Coach, you and I talked about him last week. And again, we want that big bodied receiver. But this guy that is, when you look at his measurables, you go, well, he's not big. He's not big. But let me tell you something. Again, especially if you do move, he plays big. And here's the thing: if you end up moving from Tyreek, you could afford to replace him with Borden. But I will tell you, he plays big. You know who he reminds me of? And again, I'm not comparing him as a player, but when I watch him and they say he plays big, he reminds me of Anquan Bolden. That's what he reminded me of when I watched him. Plays big. He's always moving around. He tracks the ball. I mean, some of the twists and turns he was doing in just regards of how to make the catch and everything. Loved what I saw from Luther Burden. I was trying everything in my power not to like what I was seeing because I was like, because I really I would want Miami to get another receiver. But when I watched him, I was like, oh, I can't hate this. This dude is a football player. You guys know I love football players. Yeah. I love guys who don't quit, who I'm talking about during the game, they're in the field of play, high motor, all that. That's what I saw this kid. So I saw that earlier today, actually, that somebody from the main sites or whatever the hell had it. And, I'm sure Dolphin fans, oh, he's too small, or whatever, which he's not. But I was like, no, don't hate on this kid. Anyway, Burden would be a mistake for us, in my opinion. Oh, there you go. There's your first Dolphin fan. He would be a mistake. So I could have understood that pick. Oh, I think he's saying something. But anyway, pick 13, just to give everybody an idea. Last year, Brock Bowers. The year before, we'll go year by year here. Brock Bowers, Lucas Van Ness from the Packers.
Luka Doncic.
Jordan Davis. Yeah. Oh gosh. Talk about keeping me awake. I mean, I was chilling in my room. I looked on Twitter to look at my phone because the Heat had a game winner, and I wanted to see the reaction of that. And all of a sudden, I just see breaking news: trade Luka Doncic to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, and I was like, "Nah." I was like, "Dude, that has to be a hack." I woke up my best friend. I woke up Alex. I called him. I was like, dude. He's like, what happened? Oh shit! Yeah, it's like we had to get on the phone. It was like one of those moments, you know. But Rashawn Slater for the Chargers, Tristan
Yep.
Wirfs from the Buccaneers, Christian Wilkins, Deron Payne, Hassan Reddick, Tunsil, Andres Pete, this tackle from the Saints, Aaron Donald, Sheldon Richardson. I mean, you
Yeah.
go down, 13 has been a good pick for most because, again, there's players that get overdrafted in the top 10. They get drafted top 10 based off because teams start to get hyped up on what the media says and all this whatnot, what the agents put out. And then a great player gets pushed down there. And guess what? Then you hit on a guy who's going to be on your roster for 10 plus seasons, a Pro Bowl elite guy, or should be at least.
And honestly,
Arizona, love him.
Pick 13 hits more than pick 1. Pick 13 hits more than pick 1.
That's right.
Everybody's over picking quarterbacks that don't ever make it. So,
yeah, I'm looking at the amount of free agents that Miami has this year, and I'm thinking that this year's pick is going to be based off a need after this free agency. So we're going to see where they fill these positions, and then they're going to go into the draft and they're going to say, okay, where can we fill a spot with a really good player that we need currently? Yeah. It's not a BPA type. And I mean, it happened. But hopefully you just get a really good player that can plug and play at that 13 spot. But I have a feeling it looks like, based off of where we're looking at right now, fans are probably already on it. The trenches is where we're going to see this pick go this year.
And that could go on either side of the ball. That could go on defensive line. That could be offensive line. As you guys know, in my way too early my first mock, I had Mason Graham going there at 13. I could see it. I wouldn't hate it. But I think you're right. It could lean that way. But again, I will say, other than quarterback, punter, and kicker, don't sleep on any position at pick 13 for Miami. They can't afford to sleep on any position. And some team will say I could fix them. But anywho, let me move this here and make sure I'm not missing out. And just in the league right now, in regards of noise around the league, supposedly, some team, I guess in the top 5, at least what I saw, I don't know, said Shadir not to practice, and so people are like, oh, he's definitely going top 5 now. And some people say the Giants are really high on Cam Ward, which we all figured. Again, it's way too early, I think, to think that anything's going to be what it is. But have you guys, and Josh, I'll start with you. Have you seen or read anything in regards of not just Dolphins, but Senior Bowl NFL team related that stood out to you that was like, okay?
Not necessarily. I just feel like right now we're still trying to figure out what these teams are. I don't think has New Orleans even figured out who their head coach is going to be yet. I don't think
Kellen Moore after his playoff game, I think.
My understanding was it's come down to him and the DC at Miami, but they're leaning towards Moore, and that's why they haven't made the pick, made the official yet.
Who's their general manager? I forgot his name right now.
Loomis. Is it
Loomis?
Mickey Loomis.
Yeah.
Was that used to be the owner? I think he's dead. But anyway, he's the GM has said, even though there's no final decision,
it's Mickey Loomis.
Oh, okay. He intends to, or the Saints intend to continue their conversation with Kellen Moore after the playoffs. So more than likely, he's going to be the hire, and Weaver will remain the DC of Miami. So, which is great for the Dolphins. Which is great. Yeah. You're blurred out, aren't you?
Yeah.
I don't know how you did that. You open your eyes and it worked like that? Damn.
Yeah, so I found it out from my boss, actually. My camera will go like that, and she's like, it tracks your eyes. If it can't see your eyes, it'll go blurry. So all you got to do is go like that, and it will fix the blurriness.
Damn.
Yeah.
I saw you do that outside. It started working. I was like, what the? I thought you were just surprised that Moore was going to be the hire. Like, whoa. Like, I get it now. Okay. All right.
But, yeah, like... We haven't finished this season, so I'm not like while we're getting into the draft and everything, like nothing's set in stone yet. Like we don't know who the offense coordinator of Philadelphia is going to be next year, if it's going to be this. We don't know what these teams are going to look like. And what pick does the Saints have? They have a fairly early pick, right?
Yeah.
That can
Yeah.
shake up
Top
the entire
10.
draft process. So
Yeah.
I don't know yet. I'm
I
ready for
had
that to be
heard
solid.
the horn kid from Colorado, the wide receiver. There were several teams that told him not to work out, that they were high on him and told him not to go through to any of the camps, just go through the draft process or go through the combine, which kind of surprised me a little bit to hear that. But isn't
Damn.
he the son of the?
Scotty's
Kind
comment.
of threw me off a little bit.
Ooh, like yeah, I'd be.
Scotty
I
with
don't know.
with the zingers.
That's interesting. The wide receiver Horn. If the team told him that, man, I didn't see that. I did see that about Shadir Sanders, but I wish teams would just let them go through the process. Don't tell them. I guess protect them from getting hurt, or maybe I
maybe.
don't know. But at the same time, it's like just let them go through the process. Watch them in every situation, every type of situation. Right. You know, because they might have a great camp with you and then have a horrible camp with another team.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Exactly. Let us go ahead and let's do a war room segment to wrap it up. And we'll talk about the players as we get there. Let me ask you though, that both of you, do you want to just go through it with a no trade for Miami, or do you want to explore trades?
I'd take trades.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't not take trades.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So let's go ahead. We'll do it that time.
Trade comes.
Yeah.
Pull it up. And okay, so it's Miami. We're good at we'll entertain trades. I know Scotty will like that. There you go. The Saints have the 9th pick, Josh. As you're looking at that there.
Bro.
This is Pro Football Network mock draft simulator. Awesome simulator. Again, this is their board. The players available is based off their board and everything else. Once we have our board finished, we will go off our board if that guy's available. Say, oh, even though this guy might be 13, this guy might be ranked 5th on their board, he's ranked 20 something on ours, and we'll go off that as it goes on. But we'll use their board, or we'll use off what we've seen so far. But we'll get to Miami's pick and see how it plays out from there. So let me get out of here very quick. It was fast. Forgive me, guys, if I see the comments there.
Cowboys got a cornerback. Look at that. The one position they absolutely do not need.
And there you go. McMillan went to the Saints. Shador went to the Titans. Cam Ward went to the Cleveland Browns. And Mason Graham went to the Jets. But Miami, who's on the board for Miami? Well, look at that. Genty out of Boise State, the running back, is on the board there. Tyler Warren, James Pierce. There you go. Calvin Banks out of Texas, offensive tackle, offensive lineman. He could play tackle. He could play O-line. You got Tyler Booker there. Jalen Walker, the linebacker. And, of course, another Texas lineman, Cameron
Just
Williams.
did a report on Tyler Booker.
There you go. So before we explain any or look at the trades, Josh, talk to me a little bit about Tyler Booker. Would he, in early viewing of him and what you've seen of him, would he be worth a top 13 pick?
I don't know if he'd be worth a top 13 pick. Ooh. Oh, I hear my voice real bad there. I don't think it'd be worth a top 13 pick, but I think he's a end of the first round, early second round type player, especially at the position of need that he's at, guard. I think he's really, really good pass blocker. He's really good at setting his anchor, using his hands, cleaning up the trash around him in the pass protection. The thing that gets me is in space. That's where he starts to struggle. As well, the one thing that threw me off is he's an offensive lineman that is inconsistent at getting off the ball on time. And I don't like that. There's something else that I see a lot of times with Alabama players of you can see in the pass game that he is throwing players around, like literally picking them up and throwing them. And then he gets in the run game and he's just like kind of holding on, like not letting the guy go by. He's not really like overpowering them when you know he can. So that's kind of something I don't like, but that could just be an Alabama thing. But I really like I like him, especially in that pass game. I think he's a stud when it comes to that. I
There you
grade
go.
him 6.5, which is a early second, first round pick.
Gotcha. Let's go ahead and look at the trade offers very quick because, and we can go based off that. So here you go. You got Philadelphia. You got 3 trade offers. Philly is saying they'll trade up from 31. They'll give you 31, 63, 95, a second rounder next year, and a 5th rounder next year to trade all the way back to pick 31.
I'm not comfortable with that.
I'm not comfortable with that either. Then this one is a little better. This one's a lot better because you're only trading 5 spots back, but getting the 50th pick. And then you got, here's another one. You're giving up 151 for 53, and you're trading back 6 spots. So let's look at the first one. So if you look at it, you could still end up with one of these guys if you trade back.
Is there 5 players on the board right now that you're willing to take? I know Calvin Banks is probably one. Cameron Williams. I would look at Tyler Booker at that spot.
Well, again, for me, yeah. So here, the 5 players that I would be totally that would be there again: Tyler Warren, Calvin Banks, Jalen Walker, Cameron Williams, Genty, Burden, Tyler Booker. Right? I mean, at that point, you're trading back now. It's a little better. It feels better to get him later than at 13. You could still end up with a very good player at 18 at that point. Coach, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like that. I like that trade probably the best. Is moving back a couple spots. You still have an offensive guard, offensive tackle on the board right now. You know, you would think at that point Warren and Genty are gone, which aren't huge needs, but would be, Cameron Williams is still on the board, Benjamin Morrison, cornerback. Yeah, there's still some good needs on there. I mean, good depth, so I'd take it.
I just think, I think that if you do trade down even 5 spots, which will be, if we're looking at that Seattle, we gain the 50th overall pick as well without having to give up one of our other picks. Because that's like DSG says, we need all our picks. We need picks.
All of them,
so adding the 50th pick, but going down 5 spots, you're still going to get yourself a quality player 5 spots down. So I'm cool. I mean, you could go with a pick here and be okay. But no, I would go with I'm comfortable with that Seattle pick.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm hoping Genty goes. I'm hoping one of these other, like maybe Jalen Walker goes
James
here.
Spears, Ashton Genty, Morrison. You would hope maybe Warren, even though none of those guys. And I'm not saying that because we don't want them. It's not that, but these guys would push those other guys down, and you still have a quality guy. If one of those guys are still on the board, the ones that we're saying that get picked, then you have to consider them. But you would hope that those are the guys that maybe Seattle's trading up for, and those other teams will go after them. So let's go over this trade and see where we're standing at that point.
Well, Tyler Booker went 17.
So Tyler Booker went to the Lions. Tyler Warren went to the Colts. Pierce went 15. Calvin Banks went to Seattle. So on the board still, Genty is still there. Luther Burden, Jalen Walker, Cameron Williams. So at that point, you're looking at what's left on the board.
Josh Simmons
from Ohio State.
Yeah.
Do you pick up the phone to listen to other trade offers, or do you go, no, we have to make our pick here and we have to pick the guy? Because again, we know what's going to be in the second round. We know what possibly is going to be on the board there. But if you look at the talent that's here, do you force yourself to draft a Genty? Not force. I don't want to say that in a bad way, but do you go Walker at linebacker, who people are really high on right now? Cameron Williams, there you got an offensive tackle who could play. You could push him the guard as well. Where do you go? So I'm going to start, Coach. I will ask you this: Is there a player right now you're like, no, I feel really good taking him here at 18, or do you go, no, let me explore another trade down? And then Josh, I'll ask you the same question after Coach responds.
I mean, I don't think it ever hurts to listen to trade offers. You don't have to accept any of them. I see what people are wanting. There's still several people that we're interested in that are there. I'm just curiosity.
Yeah, I would agree as far as like listening, but currently, before you even listen, are there players on here that you're willing to move away from because there's a list of players that you're like, okay, yeah, I'm comfortable because there's these guys after. I don't know if I'm looking at this and saying, and it could just be because I haven't gotten through these guys, but I don't know if I'm willing to move away from like a Cameron Williams
Yeah,
or a Luther
I mean,
Burden at that.
yeah. Seeing what I just saw, I'd rather just go with my offensive tackle and live for the second round. Honestly.
I'm curious what your thoughts are, Bobby.
Yeah, it's a great question, Josh, because again, like Cameron Williams, Walker, Burden, Genty, those are guys that I'd be very hard pressed missing out on at that point. If you look at again, and it's great because it's like, are you willing to lose out on these guys if you move back? Because even at 18 at that point, you have to consider talk about generational talent, someone like a Genty. You have to,
Right.
And of course, you look at it here, like the Rams, 26, they're giving you the 26th pick. So, you got to look, if you want to really trade down and see who would be at that point. This is one pick. We don't want more to that. And then, no, we're not going into the second round. So for me, I'm hard pressed to lose out on any of these top four guys at that point.
Yeah.
And then it's really, again, you got to see what happens for agency. Do you move on from Tyreek Hill? It makes it more easy to go after Burden at that point, even though Burden, I think, is a very damn good player. Genty, I mean, 18 is great value for Genty at that point. And again, you think about what you could do with a Devon Achin and Genty. I mean, fans right now beforehand will be like, "Oh, dude, I don't want to do it." But then when it happens, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Then you go.
Well, you're also in a scheme that takes running backs that get drafted in the 7th round and then turns them into stars.
Yeah.
So
No. And that's right. And that's why, again, you got to consider everything, because then you go to Jalen Walker and then you go, okay, our linebacker, I thought, improved last year, but still we need a boost in that linebacker room. And it's hard to press the pass on a Jalen Walker out of Georgia. And then you go to offensive line. That is always the common theme with Miami. And Chris Greer finally says, after saying that we worried about it more than they did, they finally said, no, hey, we definitely need to invest in our offensive line. And you go, it's more interior offensive line than it is tackle, because they did take Patrick Paul last year in the second round. They do have Austin Jackson. But again, we don't know really what we have in Patrick Paul. We're still a wait and see. You got to see how he does. But okay, let's plug him in at left tackle if Armstead retires. You could move Cam Williams to guard. You can move him there and start him there and let him develop and then push him out if he needs to be pushed out. So for me, I'm going to say, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm cool with any of those four guys. I would probably lean tackle, but I would not hate any of those guys. I know Coach said tackle, but Coach, you could tell me if you think any of those other four guys are worth it. And Josh, you could wrap it up for us. What do you think we should do there at this pick? I think we're going with a pick here. I don't think we're trading.
No, I definitely want to pick. And when you look at team needs, none of the top three are team needs, right? Ashton, Genty, Burden, and Walker under team needs. It's offensive guard, offensive tackle. So I would go Cameron Williams, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't be happy with Burden, who you said, plays much bigger than he is.
Yeah. I'm between Williams and Burden right now. Jalen Walker's, after watching Georgia's defense last year, if you're not Michael Williams, as a pass rusher, I don't care about you.
So, and let me just full disclosure, Josh, you are a Georgia fan, right? You're a Bulldog fan. So
that Georgia defense was awful, especially in the middle. They struggled to get pass rush Jalen Walker's supposed to be that pass rusher. Michael Williams was the only one that truly could get to the quarterback last year. It was the linebacker group as a whole. Just you had an ocean in Georgia's defense in the middle of the field. So I'm hard pressed to take someone that's not Michael Williams.
Okay. So that helps me there because, again, you watched him week in, week out. And, obviously it's not just as a fan because you watch other stuff too because of what watching film and stuff like that. So I'm going to trust you on that. I'm skipping on Jalen Walker here. It's process of elimination. Again, I will say, though, in regards of their team needs compared to what we've discussed early in the year, again, if Tyreek Hill has ended up being released or traded or whatever happens there, wide receiver becomes a need, whether it's big bodied or anybody. So running back that, again, you have that all around running back. But again, you could wait till later in the draft and get that big body guy, whether it's Ollie Gordon or Damian Martinez or whomever, Donovan Edwards. You could wait on that. You don't have to use that. Now, again, it's hard to pass on a premier talent, but still, you could do it. But again, we don't know what happens with Tyreek Hill. Maybe he stays. Maybe he doesn't. Who knows? Let's say he stays. I'm cool going Cameron Williams here and addressing the offensive line, getting some help on the offensive line.
I'm cool with Cameron Williams as well. I do see that there's Josh Simmons down here.
Okay.
Who's a right tackle, I believe. Where are we at currently in the right tackle spot for Miami?
Austin Jackson. He was injured. He got injured early on last year. He had a better year the year before with the new offensive line coach. A lot of Miami fans were very excited about what we were going to see out of him this season, but he was injured and we missed him for sure. It hurt the running game. It hurt a lot of stuff with the offense when he went down. So I feel it's more left tackle is the biggest concern with Patrick Paul and Armstead always being hurt. Patrick Paul, we don't know what we have in him. That's why I would feel better for a guy that you could put at tackle, but you also can move him around the offensive line. And I think Cam Williams could be that guy early on. But again, though, you could always say, let's wait and see what we have in round 2. Yeah, but are you comfortable passing up on a Williams here at this point?
No.
Yeah, no. I think we have to
not
go
with that
Williams
level
here.
of talent. Not with that level of talent.
So going Cam Williams at 18, offensive lineman. So let's move back here. Let's look at that. So there you go. So, oh man. All right. So we got pick 48. Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green.
That's your guy. That's your guy right now.
Sitting there. Okay. Connerly is still on the board out of Oregon. Caleb Johnson, Deion Walker, still there. Trey Harris out of Ole Miss is on the board as well. Coach, I'll let you, you're looking at least the top guys there. Anybody standing out to you and anybody you say, let's take a look and see if he might be there still on the board. Is there anybody that jumps out to you that you're looking at, or is there anybody you want me to see if is still there at this point? Remember, Miami has 2 picks there because we traded. So we got 48 and 50.
Yeah. I think just kind of going with the school of thought, you always want to try and get offensive linemen and defensive linemen. Having those 2 guys on the board is pretty impressive. Deion Walker from Kentucky. Those are
eyes went.
Yeah, and then I mean those 3 or 4 picks are defensive tackle heavy. It would depend on if you like one or the other, or do you go with your tight end pick here that you're infatuated with right now, and then go D-line and 4 more picks?
Josh,
would you like to shore up your interior offensive line? Because
he's on the board. He's on the board. This is your guy, man.
You can't do it, but I think he would. I
mean, you can do it. I am the Detroit Lions school of thought. If I need a body and he's good, I'm going to take him.
He's good, and he would be perfect for this.
Talked about it because you watched him. You did a whole thing on him, dude. That player spotlight. Talk to me about Tate Rutledge, because that when I saw his grade, I haven't seen him yet, so I don't judge it. I'm not judging at all.
I'm going to watch him today because Josh got me all hyped now.
Yeah, he's big, like 6'6", 310. He's got a thick body though, which you know how the thicker
Yeah.
bodies, the better.
You like him
Yeah.
thick. I got it.
Yeah. He anchors really well within the pocket. The one thing that I loved seeing out of him was the stunts that the defensive line were throwing to him. He flawlessly picked them up every single time. He passed his player off perfectly and then picked up his guy, which was amazing to see because you don't traditionally see that with offensive linemen in the college football game. They usually struggle with that. So it shows one high intelligence player. It shows his ability and his agility to move within his phone booth by passing his guy off and then picking up his next guy. I do think he needs to refine getting to that second level. He shows he has the ability to do that. And he needs to play with a little bit more of a punch. But he played hurt last year, so that could be another issue that he had. But he's just a super smart IQ guy. He's intelligent. He's a dog as well. And you say that a lot with like offensive linemen. He is that. He has the ability to just work someone down, but also play with finesse as well. And I just absolutely think Tate Rutledge. And like we talked about, I'm a Georgia fan. I go into this with all fandom out of it.
Yep.
I watched Dylan Fairchild gave him a 3rd, 4th round grade. Tate Ratledge is just, I think he's the dude.
Well, I will say, just to follow up on that, because of the Georgia fandom, I mean, you just crapped on Jalen Walker. I mean,
Yeah,
you just
exactly.
I don't want to crap, but I don't mean it in a bad way. But I just, you just said, he's not that. So I think it's fair. And I will say, and Coach, I know you want to say, I'll let you follow up, but I will say, I mean, selling Rutledge, and the grade that you gave him. Again, we'll go base. I'm cool going based off your thing. I love Harold Fannin Jr. and I think he's totally worth going at 48 or 50. But imagine if you come out of this draft, you get Cam Williams and Tate Rutledge, and think about it. Isaiah Wynn, you go, okay. Then that was our left guard last year. He
Georgia
got hurt.
Boy.
Yeah, he got hurt. So you had nothing there. Then you go Eichenberg at right guard. What if you got Cam Williams, and then you got Tate Rutledge? And now you could just swap. And now how are you feeling about that offensive line? I don't know,
it doesn't matter how the end of the draft is. Vogel's very happy.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with at 48 going Rutledge here.
I am too.
I'm cool.
So go ahead and forget about talking about it anymore. Just draft him. Yeah.
Like you're going to throw in his film, just specifically watch him when there's stunts and the way he passes his guy. Like, because that's an NFL thing. Like, you don't see that in college. He passes his guy off to the next one and then picks his guy up. That just shows, like, what level of intelligence he is at the game compared to everyone else in college.
Yeah. So let me just say let me try to sell on the Harold Fannin pick.
Yeah. Please do.
Very quick.
You ain't got nothing to sell.
I know, no. But I'm going to talk from a Dolphin because Josh asked an unbelievable question. And right away, I already know what he asked without even asking. Because what did we do with the Chop Robinson pick last year when we were just even before that pick made? We talked about Chop. We talked about edge rusher. You don't have to sometimes draft for a need. You draft with the potential of a need. Jonnu Smith had a killer year last year, right? He should be extended. Hopefully he is.
Right.
But he's going into. I think this is the final year of his deal. But what if he did? How was his backups last year? How was the other tight ends? How was Dirk
Can't block. If you could sell me on Harold Fannin blocking, you don't have to sell me anymore because they can't block. They
can't block. But what I saw from him, and I saw someone call him a mini Jonnu Smith earlier in the comments. I heard he was a mini Antonio Gates. I'm going to tell you something, man. This guy is a football player. He's a willing blocker. That's one thing I saw from him. He has to work a little bit on that technique, but I saw he was stunting. He was stopping some guys. I mean, there were guys dead in their tracks when they hit him, and he would break off, go to play. And again, even if the play was all the way over on the other side of the field, you know how Josh, Coach, there are some guys you want them to bust their ass to get on that other side to help finish up that play. They start walking because what are they going to do? He didn't do that. I did not see that from him. I saw continue. To me, You're not drafting just for, okay, you have a guy now sitting behind Jonnu Smith to come in and off the field, but you have a guy who could replace him if you don't re-sign him after this year. That's going to save you some money. So at this pick right here at 50.
And with that, this year, you could run a lot more 2 tight end sets and with him as the predominant backer. And now you've got some things that we haven't really been able to do much with the current tight ends that we have. Or the current tight ends that we have that we've put in have not been what Harold Fannin brings to the table.
Josh?
Go for it, GM. You know you want.
I mean, if you love him and you're talking about him like the way you are, as someone that plays with his hair on fire and is just always going, I'm down. Like, I think you can't have enough of those football players on your team.
And we don't currently.
Let's freaking do it. Let's draft them. Let's do it. We're getting football players in this draft.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm just excited to take Rutledge. I'm excited he fell to the second round.
All right, so I'm sorry. All right, so let's.
102 and 180.
That's not bad. So
that's going to be the thing. So Sackman over here, Miami is going to want Mason Taylor through and through because he is a child of Miami. Essentially, he is the bred legacy. One to become.
A legacy pick.
100%.
I'm going based off what I saw, and again, I don't want to wear. Legacy pick's not going to win you a Super Bowl. I don't mean that. I don't mean that against Mason Taylor. I just mean that if I'm looking, if Fannon's on the board at that point, I'm going Fannin. I'm not worried about because he's JT's son, and JT's my favorite player, and I want Mason Taylor to succeed. And if Mason Taylor's in a Dolphin uniform, awesome. But you know what? If you want a legacy pick, go get me a Rondé Gadsden the second later on. That to me is a strong, 6'5", 200, whatever. My goodness. I don't hate it, but man, this, I'm going with Harold Fannin. I just love what I've seen from him. All right, we're at 98 here. Do we want to explore a trade back, or is there someone on this board that you see that you would like? No, we got it. And of course, Gray Zabel's sitting there. I think he'll be higher than that, but still.
There's someone on here piquing my interest.
Go ahead.
And it's Will Howard.
Ooh, okay. Quarterback.
The only fact is big body. And he just won a national championship and made it look so easy doing it against great teams.
He didn't look that great against Notre Dame. I'm lying.
I was about to say, what are you talking about? We've got Notre Dame fan in the house.
And
he did. He made it look very easy.
He throws a beautiful deep pass. You might need to work a little bit on his shorter passing game, but I'll work with that. There's probably a little bit of adjustments in his technique that I can work with him on.
Hey Bobby, bring up his note on the thing there. I just want to see something real quick. Yeah. Okay. Nope. 6'4", 236. That's pretty.
And there's another thing here. High football IQ.
Yeah.
I love that as well.
NFL throws.
If I can take that in the third round, I'm taking it. And I think he's pushing for the future, and he's letting Tua know he's on notice with this pick.
And I like him better than yours for all those reasons you just said.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Yours I'm kind of down on because he had the team. Like, this team should have did something, and it didn't.
F the Jets.
Yeah, I know. That's why
they're not.
You hear that, Russ? Did you hear that, Russ?
F the Jets. You do not propose trades with us. Now, do we move back for?
That's what I'm saying. Is this worth? You move a couple picks back? Are we? Is Howard is so worth it that we don't move back and we just take him here because you move from 252 to 180,
right? And then you look at the San Francisco. They have a quarterback. The Rams have a quarterback.
Well, the Rams could be looking to replace Matt Stafford at that point.
Well, they could.
Yeah.
But do they like wide receiver more because they've
Do the
moved on from
Vikings
what?
have a quarterback?
Well, they drafted J.J. McCarthy last
That's
year,
true. That's true.
and then
and
I'm
because you got to
tempted.
look
I'm
at it.
tempted.
Arroyo, in a realistic thing, Arroyo, Reed, Zabel. I'm just, and not saying about Miami, just in general. Those
Yeah,
guys could be the ones coming off the board next.
right.
Scatabo, Horton. So again, Will Howard could still be there at 102, but I don't know. I'll let you guys. I'm cool with it. If you want to do the trade down, we'll do the trade down and see what happens, risking it all. Or we could go Will Howard. You guys are high on Will Howard.
I mean, the chat is asking for Zabel. Is there a conversation to have
Oh,
for
absolutely. There has to be a
Zabel and
conversation because again, you
You
just
can
went
never
two
have
offensive
enough
line.
long. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. You just went two offensive linemen. We went
yeah.
Cam Williams in the first round, who could play tackle and guard, more likely tackle. You got Tate Rutledge out of Georgia, who Josh is high on. He has a first round grade. We got him in the second. Okay, and with one of our second round picks, and you got two O line right now. Okay, so that would mean right now, okay, you got we don't know what's going to happen with Terran Armstead, but you have Patrick Paul,
yep,
Tate Rutledge, Aaron Brewer, Cam Williams, Austin Jackson,
yep,
right?
yep.
Now, if you turn around and get Zabel, you got somebody who you could rotate in the background, or maybe
Right.
steals takes one of those jobs.
Yeah.
So I think there is a conversation to be had, but you just went two offensive linemen here.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's the issue. Is we're spending 3 top 100 picks on offensive linemen, and one of them isn't going to be our starter. And you have to
Right.
get starters.
Yes.
And this
Correct.
is an argument against Will Howard too.
Well, it's an
Uh,
argument against even now. Like, we can't look back. I mean, we talked about it at 13. We were like, or 18, because we traded back. Do we go Cam Williams here? Do we skip on a Genty? Do you skip on a Burden? Do you skip on one of these guys, even or a Walker? You skip on get your offensive lineman now, because later you knew maybe you might go another offensive lineman. And so if you would have, let's say we would have got a Genty, then you go get a Tate Rutledge and a Harold Fannin, then you get Gray Zabel. Now how are you looking at your draft? But now you got Williams, Ratledge,
Yeah.
Fannin. Now you're at your 4 pick. Do you go Zabel? Now you have 3 offensive linemen here, which again, in the end all, Miami needs it. But do you really see Miami doing it? And does it make sense? Now
Yeah.
that's when you look back and go, oh, but you can't. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. You didn't. We didn't get Genty. We didn't get those guys. We got 2 for linemen already in the top 100 picks. So do we do it again? It's not going to hurt. He's been having a strong Senior Bowl, and maybe
Right.
he could. Again, I think he's going to get picked way earlier than this pick, but he's available now. So
No.
do we do it? Do we go Will Howard? Do you trade back and see if one of those two are on the board?
Is there a player on here that you think, because we're looking at it right now, Gray Zabel, Will Howard, they're good future potential picks, someone that could fill a gap if someone gets hurt. Will Howard potentially could fill a gap if Tua gets hurt. Gray Zabel can fill a hole if any of our interior offensive linemen get hurt.
Yeah.
Is there someone on here that you think is day one, you plug them in? It might be a Cam Scatabo who is going to split carries on the running back side of this. Is there someone here that is going to give us production day one out of here?
I don't know if I'm not sold on Scatabo. I know some may say Jalen Reed because he's a safety, but I haven't seen him to be sold on him. So I'm not going to say just because he's a safety, and I'm not going to say draft him. And Miami does need a safety because we don't know what's going to happen with. We know Jordan Poirier ain't going to come back. He shouldn't come back, and we don't know what's going to happen with Javon Holland. So safety should definitely be considered. I think maybe but I'm not going to be saying just to get Jalen Reed just because he's a safety. So Zabel, I've seen. I like what I've seen. Will Howard, I thought did I see Will Howard? I did.
Yeah.
And Will Howard, just for reference, I had a 4th round grade on him.
Okay.
So, and we're almost at the 4th round right here. So if you're saying if we trade back to 102 and he's still there,
Yeah.
there you go.
If out of the list of players that we've talked about, is there one player you think is going to be the star out of that group? Or is none of them going to be a star and you're like, I don't really care?
Out of the players we talked about, The one,
Zabel, Howard, Scatabo, Reed.
Well, I think for reasons that we talked about earlier in the podcast, having somebody that can push Tua, right?
Well.
And Will Howard just, I mean, let's be honest, like against Michigan, I was like, oh, Ohio State is done. And then Ohio State went on a mad tear, and he looked good in every single game. And you want somebody that can push Tua. My thing is I am really tempted to drop back to those 4 picks and see. But do I love him enough to go ahead and pick him here? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the question. Bobby, where are you feeling on that?
I think that there's so much indecision on this pick because I don't know what the chat. I'm not looking at the chat, to be honest. I have you guys on a bigger screen. That way I could see what you're seeing and seeing that production is looking good. So forgive me, guys, for those who I'm not being interacting with you in the chat right now. But looking, I can understand that if the chat is heavy on Gray Zabel, because of obviously it's a hot name right now. It's a hot name, and he is a very good offensive lineman, and he's available. And he might be at this point the highest player on our board when it's all said and done. You know, but again,
I think the chat is kind of between what we're between. We see a quarterback here. Ewers is one. Zabel, Scatabo. Okay. So I think they're in the same situation we're in right now.
So quarterback, if you go quarterback here, you're looking at QB. Again, I know what you guys feel for the Texas quarterback, so we're not gonna look at him. But Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, Kyle McCord out of Syracuse, Curtis Work, Riley Leonard's down there. There's guys that you could hold off on, past this pick. But again, if Josh, for instance, feels strongly enough about, because this is even though we got the chat and there, this is our, we're in this war room here. We're trying to say, hey, is this guy worth it? Is it worth? Do we take him here and then, or can we wait? Like, maybe we could have done with the first pick and get a Kyle McCord, a Curtis Work, a Dylan Gabriel later on, and you could have your second guy, even though we talked about the size on Gabriel. Look at what they have him here. You see, so
5'10".
Yeah.
Let me look at something very quick.
Here's my thing. My final kind of my final.
He's my size. He's really
my final thing is I feel like if we didn't go offensive guard earlier, that without question, Gray Zabel would be the pick, and I wouldn't trade it. Nothing. He is definitely the guy I would take. But we took offensive tackle. We've taken offensive guard, and I feel like if we're only dropping 4 spots, to drop those 4 spots and see what the board sets up for us, and then go Will Howard if he's still there.
So trade back. Let's do the trade back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm down. See, I just like poking the bear so we can have this conversation.
Yeah.
No, and look, it didn't help anything because, Jack Beck went 99 and Jalen Reed went 101. So that did take off a couple guys there.
Yeah.
Halen Pierce, the top tackle in that list, went. But Arroyo, Quinn, it's from Texas, still there. Zabel, Howard. So they're all there at 102. And again, at that point, though, you got 102, 115, 135, 151. Look, there's still going to be some good players there.
Where you feeling here? Are you wondering if we take a player, if another one will fall to 115?
Yeah, and I know there's 2 guys that I'm with taking at that later pick. Obviously, Ollie Gordon's going to come into play. Aronde Gadsden is going to come into play. But again, is it those 2 guys are still on the board, man? Oh, dude. Zabel's hard to pass on, even though we did. Again, if now you go, okay, well, if you would have took a Genty or a Burden, or you would have took those. Now it would have been easy money because you would have left this draft with a Genty.
Can we make a trade here? Are we willing to move? Are we willing to try and move up with like the Browns or something so we can secure 2 players?
Oh, you mean try to? Okay.
Yeah.
So if we move like 115, for 103 and let's say 180, the pick we just got, would they were not going to accept that. But is that something that we're willing to do?
Yeah,
Because
to
these are the
get
two
both of
players
those
we
guys,
want.
I would, especially with all the draft picks we have now.
Okay, let's try it. Let's try. So one.
115.
Let's move it to
Or
do
we could keep 115 and say like 135 and 151 and see where that gets us.
Yeah, I would rather keep 115 because there's a guy that I want there, but
And they're not going to accept that.
What about one of those higher picks?
Let me look at a trade value chart. $20.25, and we're looking to get up to 103, which is 88 points. We currently have 115, which is 64. And what was our next pick? 35, 135.
yeah.
Yeah, we would probably have to give up 135 and 115.
Do we want to include do you want to go a third round pick next year, or do you want to maybe add 226?
I would add one from next year.
I would do a four. Like
considering we're in the fourth round.
135 is 38 points. 151 is 30, so we're at 60. Yeah, I would do like a fourth. Yeah, that should be good.
Yep. All right, let's see.
Bam, there you go. There you go.
Get them both, baby. Get them both.
Get out of here, Dallas.
Get out of here, Dallas.
Bam, there you go. Ooh. Okay. So Sebastian Castro. Listen, Sebastian Castro's there. Safety out of Iowa. Aronde Gadsden. I love that. I love those options.
Can we tell Daniel?
What's up with Daniel? I'm sorry.
We didn't draft a guard at 13?
Yeah, we didn't draft a guard at 13. It's a tackle that we're going to move the guard.
And we traded back to 18.
Yeah. Yeah, at 18 we traded. So
yeah, and that's something I've been talking about, though. I mean, I have been saying that it's you're hard pressed, especially any up person drafting high. But if the guy's worth it, I can see it happen. Again, this draft is so. Again, I'm not sleeping on any position at pick 13 right now for Miami, other than quarterback, punter, and kicker. But again, in this mock, though, Daniel, we traded back to pick 18, and we got an offensive tackle who could be moved out to guard. We got offensive lineman. We got an offensive lineman
that we can shift around in later years. He doesn't have to play guard forever.
I'm feeling pretty good about this offensive line at this point.
I know. I'm telling you right now.
Interior swing guy. You have a guard that can move out to tackle if need be.
Oh, man, it'd be hard passed on Grande Gaston, 6'4", 247.
I know. I know we might need a safety. I don't know what's going on with Javon Holland, but I'm hard. I mean, and I do like Castro. I haven't really watched a lot of film on him, but I did watch on Gadsden, and I like Gadsden a lot. Let me see, where's Gadsden at? I have a third round grade on him, 6.17. So and this is round 4. So I would go Gadsden here.
Yeah.
I mean, we need a big bodied wide receiver. We don't know what's going to happen with Tyreek Hill. You're adding size to your receiver room. I'm down with this.
I mean, we didn't trade 115 because there's a guy there that you knew could fall in that area. So let's go.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Ollie Gordon there. Let's see where we're at. We don't have any picks.
Oh.
I know. All right, we're at 156. Ollie Gordon, son of a 153. He just popped off the board there.
Well,
so we have.
What do we have as far as edge rusher at this point? Not on the top of the chart.
You can't hate on an edge rusher right now. Edge rusher. Again, you go, oh, but no, we don't know what's gonna happen with Agba. We don't know what's happened. Bradley Chubb. Do they restructure him? Do they move on from him? Jalen Phillips is a health concern. You don't know what's going to happen. And that's why, again, I don't sleep on any position and any pick for Miami. Edge rusher for sure. But
nose
I think
tackle
edge rusher
is a big need.
Nose tackle. But there we go right now. Look, Cam Williams, Tate Ratledge, Harold Fannin Jr., Gray Zabel, Will Howard, Aronde Gaston. That's what we got so far for Miami in this mock in the War Room. We got 4 picks left, so 156. Let's go ahead and we'll look at edge. So let me this guy right here. I haven't watched his film yet, but his numbers are off the charts.
Yeah.
I don't want, again, I know sometimes numbers don't scream, pass pro, whatever. But if I could, let me pull him up here.
I mean, Bobby, he's graded right now as a late day 2, and we're in what, round 5?
Yeah.
Like, that's, to me, this would be a no-brainer.
Yeah, so and we'll look at defensive tackles, but I had him going in round 7, and I had in my first mock, I had him coming to Miami in round 7.
Oh, okay? Wow, okay.
So, but obviously he's going to move up. I know Will Patrone of 305 Sports, who follows the Miami Hurricanes, and obviously Virginia Tech is a rival. He can use Bobby. This kid is going to go way higher. At least that's how he felt based off what he's seen from this year. But this is his numbers right now. So 43 total tackles this year, 16 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. Again, that does last, but you think the following year, 40 total tackles, 9.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. And then 11 and 22, 11 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. 3 sacks the year before. So he has that production value. For me, if we're talking edge rusher, which coaches brought up, that's a dude you strongly have to consider at that pick. Again,
what else would your safety?
Safety at that point. Is there anybody there? I think we could wait. I mean, you could have fun with it and go Shiloh.
What about the Navy guy? Isn't he supposed to be a high, like a nice prospect coming out at safety? I haven't watched.
Yeah, him. I don't have enough info on him.
I don't have enough info on him, so that's why, for me, I don't want to.
I don't love anybody in the safety class right there.
Okay.
I mean,
I think I could wait and see, try to get a Shiloh later just for S and giggles. But
shocking.
I don't know.
Oh, I was a little shocking that Jack Kaiser's still there, but I thought he'd be off the board already, but they have him listed way down there.
Well, you get him later. We could use another linebacker. Danny Stutzman is still on the board here. Mitchell Evans, but we got a tight end. Dylan Sampson is on there. I mean, you could wait on that, or you don't have to go there at all now at this point. But I don't know. I think edge rusher. I'm cool going edge rusher here.
Yeah, I'd go with that guy that you were just talking about. The kid from Virginia Tech,
Josh
Powell Ryland.
So, where he's going to be playing behind, what's his name? Who's the
Jalen Phillips, Chop Robinson, Bradley Chubb.
Yeah, I'm down.
Again, you got to think about it like this. We don't know about Jalen Phillips. Gets healthy, gets hurt. Gets healthy, gets hurt. Bradley Chubb was hurt. He has a major contract. Does Miami restructure? Do they move on? There's a lot of question marks, even though it looks stacked, and it would be great if they're all healthy because then you're really stacked. But it looks stacked. But then again, by the start of the season, we'll be like, damn, we don't have anybody back there. So I'm good with rolling with that. So we're at round 6.
Is this our last pick?
No, we have, I think, 3 picks left here at this point.
Ooh,
we have 3.
180, 226, 233. Okay. So now
Peebles is an undersized guy.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
He's a
Samson.
But he could be D end in this scheme. I don't know how he would play the 5 technique.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw from Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee. I would hope he was bigger, but he does play bigger.
I thought he was a defense. I thought you clicked Ty Robinson.
Oh.
And I'm like a 5'11", 201 defensive tackle.
No, that dude's huge. That's 5'6", 296. But no, I'm thinking because of running back, and you're at 180, we did get Jalen Wright last year, but again, I liked what I saw of Dylan Sampson. The only thing that would stop me from doing it was just that I would prefer a bigger body back, but this guy played bigger.
Who's available at running back
right now at running back? There you go.
It's Etienne.
Trevor Etienne
out of Georgia is still there. Yeah.
He's a good runner. Be perfect for this scheme.
5'8".
He's not a big body guy.
Damian Martinez is still there.
What's his size, Bobby? I don't know much on him.
5'11", 226.
5'11", 226.
If you scroll down a little bit,
There's Donovan Edwards. There he is.
Yeah, I'm looking
there he is. 5'11", 215.
Who was I looking for? Marcus Yarns.
Devin Neal out of Kansas. Mullings out of Michigan. These are big. Look at that. Big 6'2", 233. These are big body backs, man. That's who I'm looking for. Like, again, Dylan Sampson, I liked a lot what I saw, but I would feel better going after a bigger body back. And I mean, I have a good grade on Sampson, but I also have a second round grade on Sampson. I have a second round grade on Martinez. Currently, Etienne have a third round. I don't have anything on
just
the other
for
guys.
me. Is Marcus Yarns on here at running back? No, they don't have him on here.
I don't think so.
Well, there he
Marcus
is.
Yarns.
Let's go.
5'10", 189. Oh, yeah, he's the kid from Delaware, right?
Yep. Yeah, let's go Sampson then. Tennessee guy. Familiarity in the backfield.
With Wright.
I think Trevor Etienne would be a good, like, if you didn't need a big body guy, I think he would be like a nice piece. Shiloh's still there.
I'm going to go with Shiloh. I mean, I would be cool with Shiloh.
Oh, yeah, because I was going to ask about safety.
This dude here, one of the guys I have my eye on. That's the thing. I mean, there's Kaiser. Kaiser's still on the board.
Deshaun.
Yeah, Deshaun Kaiser moved got 6 more years at Notre Dame playing linebacker.
What are we thinking here, Coach?
I think safety first. It's a need that we have not addressed. And if you like Shiloh, we can go with Shiloh. Or if there's somebody else you like better, I don't have a strong opinion here.
I'm cool with Shiloh Sanders at this point. I mean, you need a safety, and again, it would create headlines. It'd be fun. Everybody's talking about his brother.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Josh
Shiloh made some plays.
Let him give him number 21. Let him high step some pick sixes.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Let's do it.
Do it.
Yeah. He made some plays in Colorado.
Let's do
some
it.
Nice
man.
plays.
Yeah. All right. Right here.
Jack Kaiser went 2 before. He was gonna be my last pick.
We need a big body guy here. A big body defensive tackle.
Yeah.
All right. Let's look at D tackles here.
Thor.
I mean, Thor sounds like he should be like the biggest dude in.
Yeah. Black is the guy that I
337.
saw. He's the first one I think of when you said big body. 6'6", 337.
All right.
Beast mode.
Yeah.
I heard Thor might be the one.
Has a big name. Thor.
Yeah, 6'2".
Thor Griffith.
What about him? He's one of your guys. Know anything about him?
Nope.
Tyrion Ingram? No?
Nope.
That tells you about him, huh? So, are we going to go with the big name, or are we going to go with Yaya Black, who's actually big?
No, I like Yaya.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you guys go with, I'm good. This is throwing a dart at a wall here.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Look at Yaya for a second. 6'6". Let me look at his.
He's got length. Thor doesn't have the length.
He has length.
You can play the.
It's the last pick in the draft. I mean, We'll have a
For
better
us.
thing as we go here. But there you go. There you go.
You can play what is
So
it? What's that band called? Where they yeah.
yeah,
You can play that when he comes out.
There you
It's a
go.
fun thing.
look at that offense. Look at that draft. Look at that offensive line. What we finished with on the offensive line. I mean, whew.
A stud backup quarterback, big body wide receiver.
There you go.
Yeah,
Cam
I
Williams,
would
Tate
be.
Ratledge, Harold Fannin.
Do you want to say that we have 100 people watching currently? Pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We have we're about 100 people tuning in, and again, thank you everyone who's watching. We appreciate you as always watching the Miami Dolphins on the clock, Miami Dolphins weekly draft show here on FTSN. Going on almost 2 hours here, which is pretty cool. You have fun. You lost track of time, but we appreciate you. If you haven't yet, hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be here every Sunday, 11 a.m. We're working on our draft board.
That's right.
Sorry, Bobby. I don't like this draft. Doesn't like this draft. Talk to me, Daniel.
Wow,
Don't just
Daniel.
say it. What don't you like? What makes you happy, Daniel?
Wow.
What do you want from us, Daniel? What do you want?
I mean, that is, we complain because we have a terrible offensive line, and we're offensive line heavy in this draft.
Yeah.
And a
Probably-
stud backup quarterback.
Probably too offensive line heavy. Now, that might be what he doesn't like. That we went too much in the offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, you got to draft heavy, unless you come into the draft and you've got some of those.
And again,
O line through free agency. Then
we're not predicting what Chris Greer would do.
This is not.
Yeah. Let me just say, we're not predicting what Chris Greer would do.
We're not. Nobody can predict.
Yeah, that's what we would do.
Yeah,
nobody can predict what Chris Greer is going to do this year, considering his feet are to the fire. So
we're having the
we're right there.
Yeah, we're treating this as if we're in the war room. We're having the conversations. So
that's right. That's why we're petitioning or interviewing for jobs right here.
But Daniel, you said you don't like it, man. Come on, what's up? What don't you? I would love to know what you wouldn't like about it. And I haven't seen the comments, so maybe you've said it before. But
outside of, he said something about Chris Greer would never do that.
No, that was Scotty.
Oh, Scotty.
Maybe.
Oh, he said everyone knows Greer isn't drafting an offensive guard at 13. Bobby, you should know
Which
that.
we didn't.
I'm not
we back to 18.
He just doesn't.
Offensive tackle.
Bobby, we get off this tight end kick. We need a D tackle. Who's the backup tight ends, Daniel? Who's the backup tight ends?
Exactly.
Is that what you don't like? We didn't go D tackle. Is that what it was?
He doesn't understand the round 1 pick with Williams.
Okay. Well, tough.
To each their own. We can't please
everybody.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. I'm telling you what, though, if I came out with that draft, and especially with those offensive linemen and Harold Fannin, I would be ecstatic.
Yeah.
And I think I felt really more about the offensive line than I did the D tackle spot. And if Calais Campbell comes back, I'm cool with that. So,
and honestly, last year when we went Chop Robinson, I would have loved to have some offensive line, but we hit on Chop Robinson, so I can't complain about it this year. So now we need to go offensive line heavy until that.
And I'm not going to go a guy just to go a guy. I mean, I saw what I saw, and I like who I like when I was watching him. So I was like, dude, he's there. We're going to get him. Yeah. Josh was high on Tate Ratledge in the second round. We go Tate Ratledge. I was high on Harold Fannin. Just because a guy says, oh, there's this guy's name. Look, he's a D tackle. Let's get him because he's a D tackle.
Yeah.
No,
it's a little bit more in depth.
Oh, there you go.
Than just knowing somebody's name.
I don't understand the Williams pick in round 1.
It's an offensive lineman.
Offensive line.
That he's an offensive
What don't you
tackle.
understand?
Well, he's a good offensive
now
lineman.
again,
Move inside, move outside.
Now again, you could have gone Ashton Genty there, but you probably would not have liked that. You could have gone Luther Burden, but you would not have liked that. Mason Graham was already taken at that point, if that's what you wanted to be tackle.
Yeah.
Again, we could have gone that, and then we could have gone Rattler, and we would have felt better. But Cam Williams, have you seen the offensive line? Again, this is not what Chris Greer would do. This is what we would do. And there's 3 of us working on one draft, deciding it.
Yeah.
Cam Williams, you could put him at tackle. Now, if you got Patrick Paul and he does great. You move Williams out the guard. If Patrick Paul does not show up at camp, then you plug in Cam Williams at tackle. I don't understand what's not understanding about the pick at round 1 when offensive line was one of your major needs.
Because it is the major need of the draft. So if you got a stud,
that's fair. And Scotty, that's what we were discussing. That's why we wanted to make the trade up, because we didn't want to pass up on somebody like Zabel. But that was the reason why we were considering passing on him again, because we did take 2 offensive linemen. That was the tough thing, because you see someone on the board that you have so high, but you're like, man, we just took 2. So that's fair. I understand that part there. We're like, man, do we go 3? But then again, now when you're complaining that we don't have enough or we don't have good enough offensive line, now you have a little more than you wanted offensive line.
Yeah.
I would rather have that problem than not having anybody.
And we had that conversation around
point.
Who would be that one
Daniel,
player on this board. Who would be that one player on the board at that time of like we would find would be the star at the end of this.
Right.
Zabel was that guy we came to.
And remind you, this is only 3 shows deep. As the film gets watched and, we know a little bit more about the other players that are on the board there, and that may change with the film being watched. So, yeah, I understand everybody has the guy that they have their eye on their guy, but if you can make a trade like the Dolphins did and get an abundance in offensive linemen, that's a pretty good draft in my opinion.
Yeah. And we all know, again, because Chris Greer wouldn't do that. Chris Greer wouldn't do that. I understand what Chris Greer would do. We know what the history says, so I don't disagree with that point.
Yeah.
But again, this is what we would do. Just like if Scotty was running the draft, what would Scotty do? Wouldn't we worry about Chris Greer? What would Daniel do? You know what I'm saying? So, again, and Coach is right. As the draft, and you guys know this because Scotty and Daniel were watching this show last year. I think Daniel said that this was one of his favorite show, and we appreciate everyone who watches and tunes in. And everybody has, it's like that Josh was saying, to each their own. And but as we get on, as we're watching more, we're not going to be worried about everyone else in regards of the simulator. We're not going to, even though we might see someone on the board and they go, oh, look, he's top 5. To us, he might be top 30. We're not looking at him. We're going to look at our draft board, and we're going to reveal that. That will be open to you guys. We're going to have that in your, so you're going to see what we're seeing. So you're not going, man, why were they getting this guy? You're going to know that.
There might be someone they have in like round 2, round 3, and we're like, I don't know about that. That guy's top tier. We might see him in the first round.
I get it.
We had that last year with your guy. Everyone had him in the 3rd, 4th round. We were like, we would take him in the 1st.
That's right. And now look at him. At him. Yeah. But Scotty says I'm a Warren fan. I get a ton of crap for that, especially at 13. Don't. It's again.
Stick to it.
People are not, Scotty. First off, Scotty, I'm with you, man. If he is worth that at 13, Miami should take him at 13. That's why, the tight end. We see how good. Now again, this tight end class is deep. I think it's gonna be a very good damn tight end class. It has been the last few years, but I think this is gonna be good. But like Coach said, to clarify, the deepest class. But if the Dolphins, or let's say Scotty's running that draft, and Scotty truly believes, dude, this guy is worth the 13th pick. He is a game breaker. He could help our team right away. We can't pass on him. You do it. Screw what everybody else is saying.
I say it every year. It doesn't matter where you take a player. If they become a star, you will never think about it again.
100%. And 100%. But guys, hey, we're 2 hours in. This has been a fun show. And I'm excited because I'm actually happy because, I did not have much time to prepare this week at all.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy week. This is my 2nd show. I usually do a lot more, but I had to cancel a couple shows because it's just been a crazy week. But I did the wrestling show last night. I did the draft show today. Going to do another one probably in a few hours down the East 10th Street Boys. Talk Miami Heat, Luka Doncic to the Lakers, draft, Dolphins. We're talking it all. But I'm just so happy that we were able to get this show in. And I was like, man, I wonder how the hell we're going to do it. And it was a great show. Everyone, appreciate you all watching. Josh, start with you. Any final words before we wrap this one up?
No, I'm excited to get into this because, like Coach said, as we get going, our opinions are going to change. We're going to get into this, and we're going to start coming out with a more solidified where we think Miami's going to go. I think last year we were all in the understanding that Chop very well could have been the pick. We thought
Yeah.
maybe they should go elsewhere, but Chop was a
It-
very real option. I'm excited to get to that point again this year of
Yeah.
narrowing it down to those players that we think should be taken and go from
Yeah.
there.
And the thing that as these shows go on and you start getting into the film more and it gets closer to draft, like that's when things get really cool, because then you start, there's guys that are gonna, you know, during the pro days are gonna jump in the NFL draft combine, like everything's gonna jump. So to kind of see different guys floating all over the place on the boards is part of the fun for us.
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, it just happened, so I'm excited about it.
Okay.
We actually it happened last night, and I was able to change what the code is, which I'm excited about.
Interesting. Talk to me, man.
First of all, smacking sunflower seeds. Have you had these before?
I have not.
No.
Hands down, like I'm a big seed person, and I kept seeing them on social media, and absolutely love them. These are not the best. I'll be completely honest with you. The cheeseburgers are not the best.
Whoa, cheeseburger.
Yeah, I was like, cheeseburger. That sounds amazing. They do have like a dill pickle. They have a churro, which you think of a churro sunflower seeds, and you're like,
That's not
that's a
gonna
little
work.
weird.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's got that perfect sweetness to it, and it's not that salty sweet, but it's got that sweetness to it. Smacking sunflowers are really good. You can get 10% off if you use on the clock, all one word, on their website.
Wow. That is
On the clock.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Their dill pickle are really good. I just got to see all their flavors. The cinnamon churro were ones that were amazing. Their barbecue is probably the best barbecue sunflower seed I've ever had. And
And you
they
can only get
don't-
them online?
You can get them in store too, but
Oh.
you get 10% off if you use them get them online.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And they don't like tear that hole in your cheek while you're eating them. So they're really good.
I like that. Let me pull this up here. So smacking sunflowerseeds.com. You could order them there. You put them here in the comment there, and use code on the clock.
All one word.
All one word, on the clock, and get 10% off. So if you like sunflower seeds, there you go, Josh. Oh, Josh, here you go. Let's put that in there. Surprising us there with there you go. Very cool. I love sunflower seeds.
I do too. They're the best snack out there.
Yeah, sunflower seeds, and promo code on the clock, you get 10% off. That is awesome. That's a shocker. Love it. Oh man, ready to wrap it up. Coach, any final thoughts?
Man, this was a great show, and looking forward to diving into film and get rolling.
There you go.
A little deeper until next week.
That's right. Everyone, appreciate you all for tuning in. Thank you so much. Hit that like and subscribe button. Most importantly, Dolphin fans, fins up. See you next weekend.